man, if I had said, you know, at the end of this line, what if I set the sofa on fire? They all would have reached for their lighters. You know, it was just
right.
It was most supported, and I'll tell you also, Susan Gammy, the costume designer, one of my first days there, probably before I worked, we were doing a costume fitting. She let me know, because, you know, it's been 18 years since I had done daytime, and it was vastly different. And I was going, man, how do you guys do this? She says, John, the way I look at it is, it's another day at the circus. And I went, okay, I know where my Eddie Ford is. And I threw out, is it supportive? Is it, you know, because, you know, with Douglas Cummings and with Carter Jones, they both had deep wounds that were apparent in the writing.
Right.
And I could wrap my wounds, you know, my actor's soul around that. And I could play them from the position of that wound. I got a great compliment from Ed Trott, head of PMG. He told Doug Marlin, he said, you know, if someone had told me this guy would be coming and terrorizing all these characters I've known and loved for 20 years and I would actually have sympathy for him, I would have told you you're crazy. He said, but what you and John have managed to do is exactly that. Well, that's because I played the wound. I didn't play the behavior. I played the wound that caused the behavior. With Eddie Ford, I read that and I was like, man, this character, I can hear TV sets. All these clicks you're hearing are the sounds of TV sets being turned off across America.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I said, the only way I know how to do this is run straight at it and make it as darkly funny as I can. And then when I found out that I could ad-lib, like at one point at the end with my little son, my youngest, I called the little bastard. Eddie knew that was his son. You know, it was clear, it was obvious. But I threw. It even let me throw in, because I was thinking height because he was the shortest of my three sons. So on my way out, I was like, and tell your little girlfriend when she's ready to supersize, she know where to find me. So let me tell you, the cameraman almost lost his shit since you had said that word already. And he said, now, I know that was not in the script. And we just laughed. We had the best time, you know. But no, on Memorial Day, I could not say that there were Marines in hell. And I understand.
Yeah. Well, it's great that they gave you a lot of leeway with it, you know, to do what you wanted, basically, and it worked well. I mean, we all hated you.
Yeah. Oh, it's just despicable. Well, see, there was nothing. The only thing that I could sort of, and it confused audiences. My good friend Eric Neinheis, RetroRadioLive.com. I'm getting ready to go to New York and start a film, a project up in New York. Our first day of shooting is the 26th. You know, but he was co-host of RetroRadioLive.com, and I had an interview with him right when I first went on One Life to Live. And I check out. You know, I'm an idiot. I break the actor's rule. I will actually go into the logs in the chat rooms to see what people are saying. Man, you better gird your loins. Is all I have to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? Holy smokes. Anyway, you know, just people were saying, because the character had been built up. You know, it's like, I don't understand this guy. They've been talking about this villain. They expected this Teflon soap opera villain. And I went in exactly the opposite direction, you know, and I came in sort of, this guy that the only thing I could really sort of empathize with was, here is this sort of second-rate, petty crime, petty Annie criminal with delusions of grandeur who wants to get in on the big time. He wants to get in with Jerry Van character, who I forget what his
Clint.
I forget, because Jerry and I worked on Ross Marler. I keep thinking of him from Guiding Light.
Yeah,
but anyway, whatever.
Clint Buchanan.
That's him, Clint Buchanan. You know, Eddie wanted to be Clint Buchanan. Well, I loved when Hillary Bailey Smith said, okay, well, you know, who came up with this idea? Because I know you. You know, she kind of snorted, you know. And that's exactly right. I mean, Eddie had these delusions. And the one time I felt really something for Eddie was when Bobby, who was obviously his favorite, we made that up out of whole cloth. I said, okay, from what we can tell, Bobby, you're my favorite. And that's why I let you get away with things I wouldn't let the other two. Obviously, James is softer. He reminds me of his mother. He was the one that bore the brunt of the abuse. And the little kid I've never met, but he's a cocky little bastard, and he just pops me, and I threw in the line, ooh, daddy's boy, because I figured, well, he's definitely mine. But, we did all these things that Bobby was the one that was most like me, and so we sort of created these relationships, and we played these relationships. And I also forget the point that I was about to make there, but I don't want to monopolize the whole thing with One Life to Live, but the original point I was making is that I found right after I had done that, I will go back and watch Eddie Ford clips more than any other, because I laugh. You know what I mean? I'm like, if nobody had ever seen any work, if nobody had ever seen any work I'd ever done, they'd go, man, this guy's not an actor, he's a vaudevillian. But it was Susan Gammy. It was another day at the circus. And I thought, it was like, okay, man, this is what we have. And we're not going to be texting during 5-minute breaks. And whenever we're not on camera, we're going to be trying to find different things. And I started throwing things at these kids. An early scene, I accidentally spit on Bobby while eating breakfast cereal. You can see his take. He looks down. And then I thought, oh, my God, I've struck gold. So I think that it was threatened. You feel threatened by me? And so I thought, I have struck gold. So I started repeating the word threatening and spitting all over these boys. Well, they were traumatized by the time. And then it said, and then the character was supposed to say, okay, I have to go take a piss. So I thought, threatened. I crossed all the way around to the other. You feel threatened by me? Come here. I grabbed his head. I kissed it. There. See, ain't nothing but love, baby. Instead of saying I have to take a piss, I went, ooh, like I was going to throw up. And I went, oh, God, and ran off. Well, it was like they didn't know what had hit him. And the whole scene after that, he's never going to leave. I think they were talking about me. But let me tell you, those boys caught on in a hurry, and they started giving back as good as they got. A director came on the set, and he just looked at me, he said, have you been teaching your sons bad habits? And I said, oh, I do hope so. I love those boys. That was
a free acting lesson for them.
Well, you know what? And they cared. They really cared. There's a huge trap in daytime, and that is, and I think I can say this not with absolute authority. I mean, come on. Yeah. I've never done an A-list movie, but I have done a Tony Award-winning Broadway play, and I have done Shakespeare, and I have done Tennessee Williams at a prominent theater. So it's like I was writing this analysis of road rage on Facebook. I said, you better be careful, Shipp. You're writing your book on Facebook for free. You got to pull back on the anyway. So, But what was I about to say? I was like, my work. What point was I about to make? Maybe that's my sign to have a. Huh?
I don't know exactly what you were trying to get at.
I know. I was trying to get something.
No.
It was like vitally important. It's like,
about the kids learning from you, and you went in from there.
Yeah. And they began to give back as good, and that they were like a kid. Yes. Oh, they started giving back as good as they got. Anyway, that's the end of the story. He said, and I said, I do hope so. Because it's, it's from Shakespeare, whether it's Shakespeare or whether it's the trap in daytime is that. And I felt it a little bit in the halls of my life to live, is the trap you can fall into is, this is my day job. I've done daytime in 18 years. I'm a primetime actor. Not me, man. I go in like, this is the greatest stuff I have ever done, and because I truly love the work, And it's funny, that is infectious. When you start showing up like, okay, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. Okay, let's see what does work. Let's play. We're in the sandbox, man. You take the shovel, I'll take the bucket. You kick sand in my face. And then suddenly, that's infectious. The other attitude is also infectious. I'm too good for this. You know.
Yeah.
This
and
is
you don't want
daytime.
that.
I'm just going to be texting my friends. No. You know, it's like if you think it doesn't work, then it's our obligation to even work harder to find a way to make it work. And if you don't enjoy doing that, then why are you an actor? You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
That's how I feel about it anyway. But my son, let me tell you also, Jessica Leccia, that girl can act. Let me tell you, when she flew through that door, when I said, "Where's the man?" and Bobby, you know, asked the whore in, and she flew in that door at me and went toe to toe. The only thing I had a hard time getting her to do was smack me. So we were in my dressing room. If anybody had walked by, I swear we're crazy. I was like, "Smack me." She tapped. I said, "That's a tap." I said, "Smack me, smack." She went, "No." I said, "Yes, again." I said, "Now that's." She about took my head off. I said, "Now that's a slap." She said, "Am I not hurting you?" I said, "No, as long as you stay away from my ear. But if you don't take my head off,
then you're okay."
Our son, you know what I mean? And that sort of breaks my whole, you know, I don't know how to break it to you, sweetheart, but your woman's a slut. Smack! Nate is our son. Oh, sorry, kid.
No.
You know, but anyway, don't want to spend the whole time.
How was your jaw, John?
Huh?
How was your jaw?
You know, that's a funny thing, though. You know, it's like, as long as someone keeps a flat hand, and I've done a lot of action parts, you know, as long as someone keeps a flat, open hand and catches the only danger in a slap, an open-handed slap, is if it gets too far back on your face and it hits your ear. Then you have a danger of a broken eardrum. But, you know, I just smacked myself with an open palm. You know, I don't know if you heard that, but that was pretty loud. That didn't hurt. You know?
I did hear something.
Plus, I needed that because my next moment was, because I was on a roll, you know. I was like, what do you arrive in the cradle? Geez, I don't know. You know, your woman's a slut, sweetheart. I'm talking to my son. She smacks me, and I'm stunned. I'm like, sorry, kid, my mistake. And we see Eddie for the first time, maybe caught off guard. You know, then he finds out the son's name is Nathaniel, and he, you know, and he goes back. He goes, "Oh yeah, Nathaniel. I know you name your boys wuss names," and he's back to being Eddie. But that slap helped me. You know what I mean? It stopped me in my tracks. Because Eddie was like a locomotive. Anyway, what do you guys want to talk about?
I don't know. I think we're lost now.
Don't make me choke on my protein shake.
We love your stories.
He likes it, yeah.
Well, I have to tell you that David was telling me last night that you actually were singing on Guiding Light at one point, and I went on YouTube and found the wonderful Land of John Wesley Shipp videos from Terrence and sat there for I don't know how long watching so many different things and just reliving the things that I had watched before and watching the ones I hadn't seen before. And I found the one on Guiding Light where you were singing, and it was like just before your wedding, and you were singing with Morgan. And I was blown away. You have such a great voice.
Thank you. You know, I did as a joke. In fact, my friend Lorraine Milana, who's a very good friend, she was the assistant to Felicia Bear, who was my wonderful executive producer, who was so supportive when I did the Carter Jones story in 1992 on All My Children. And I did this video. I put up this video. It's like I woke up one morning, I didn't have coffee. So I've never done this before in my life. And so I came up with the coffee song. And like I'm singing all off key. I said, you know, I don't know why I did it. I did it mostly because, you know, I tell people this. When I was at Sundance, sometimes I get confused with John McGinley. And I knew at Sundance, if someone came up and said,